Okay, before we get started on adding the detail in here and the model down there, I have added a extra thing here. So I've put a color ramp in, which will make this, and you can see I've added like some scratches and stuff to it. I'll show you how to do that in a sec, which will make this a little bit darker and kind of fit the theme a bit better. I can turn the whites up so it's more like that there. I can play around with that. And I also plugged the information from this, my texture that I've painted, into the bump map and plugged it into the normal. And if I zoom in on it, you can see we've got all those little like scratches and stuff. We'll see. Yeah, there we go. So we've got that there. If I get rid of that, it's just flat, plug it in, it's all good. I don't want to invert it, I want it like that. If I turn the strength up, it's going to look horrible, so I'll keep it quite low. So I plug the color from my texture over here into the height map of this, the bump into there. Now I'm going to quickly just save this, make sure in case I make it crash. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to do this in here because I'm not sure what it's going to actually do, and I'm going to add 4 of these. Those are ring cuts, by the way. I'm going to scale them along the X. Ooh, that is not what I want, because that's going to affect everything down here. So I am going to manually do this, and I probably should have done this earlier. Definitely should have done this earlier. So I'll show you what I was going to do, but I won't do it now. It was going to be like this here. Okay, so we were going to have that panel down the bottom there, and it was just going to be slightly inset. I'll show you how to do it, and then if you wanted to do that, you're going to have to unwrap that model again and paint the texture again, because texture painting should be pretty much the last thing that you do. So how I did it, and I'll just put it into layout mode so we can see that, was I added 4 ring cuts. I scaled those ring cuts along the x-axis. Then these 2 here, I scaled back in along the x-axis to about there. Then, if I recall, I scaled them right, along the x-axis, right into there, and I think I went ahead and brought that like that, and I must have gone ahead and selected, I don't actually remember how I did this now, selected these faces, hit S, X, scaled them outwards like that. No, that's not right. Let me quickly go back and have a look at that model. Oh, I see how I did it. Okay. I'll just undo these. I did add 2 ring cuts here, and then I selected this face, inset that like so, and then I must have inset it again and selected these faces here. Oh, and I must have done it on the other side as well. Hit I to inset them like that, which would give me that shape, and then I went ahead, selected these vertices around here, here at the bottom, etc., and went extrude along normals and took them in a little bit like that. That is exactly what I did. I didn't do it on the other side then. The problem with that is now when I go back into here, it actually hasn't affected it too much, so I probably could get away with it. I might just leave it on there for now, but I would, if you can see in there, it hasn't taken effect very well. I probably should go ahead and remap that, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to undo it in this case. I think I've got my undo values set quite high. Cool. All right. So the last thing is going to be adding the detail into here. And to do that, I'm going to select this object and I'm going to go back into texture paint mode. I'm actually going to add in a new image. And this image is going to be 2048, 2048. It's going to be all good. And with this, I'm going to go ahead, I'll actually go back to UV editing. I'm going to select that Untitled, which I will call Nordic Detail. And I'm just going to select those faces around there. All those ones, because I'm actually going to unwrap them separately to a separate face. Like that. Okay, and now I'm going to hit U and unwrap them. They're a lot bigger. Now what I want to do with these is I actually want to get them all kind of to the same scale, and this isn't that hard. I'm just going to hit B and then SY0 and then B and select those bottom ones, SY0. I'm going to turn on, I'm going to make sure this is not selected here, by the way. I'm going to turn this on UV selection mode, face mode, and I'm going to turn on Vertex Snapping. I hit G, and I'm just going to move them all over the top of one another. That way I only need to paint this once. And I will scale all of these up. B, just move it into the middle. Can't move it. Oh, because I've got Vertex Snapping on. Like that. Move it into the middle. Scale it up to there. Okay, now I'm going to do some painting. I'm not going to do the texture painting in here. I want this to be very exact. So I'm going to go to texture paint though. I'm going to switch over to the Nordic Detail bit. I'm going to hit N. I'm going to go down to texture. And I'm going to load a texture. I actually got to go over here to do it. So I'll make a new texture and click on open. And I'm going to use one of these here. I don't remember which one. I think it might be this one. Yep, that's this one. Now I want to use this as a stencil. So down here I'm going to change the texture to stencil. And you'll see as I go over there that I get this stencil in the bottom left corner, but I'm going to change the image aspect. I'm going to move this out, by the way, like that. We will need to map that. We will need to assign this to a separate material, which we'll do shortly. I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees, so I get the stencil like that. And I'm going to set the scale to be 3, because I'm not entirely sure how to do this better. So what this is going to do though, you'll see if I put that there and then I paint, it paints what is the stencil onto there. So it's kind of like rough rubbing paper or something. So I'm going to position that there, and I'm going to set my brush radius quite high, and I'm just going to paint that onto the map, and hopefully it doesn't crash on me. Please don't crash. I'm going to save. I'm saving right now. It's lagging out. Okay, so I've got that there. Oops, I don't want to paint over that one. And that is there. By the way, it is important that you save these images. Okay, I'm just going to give them a save now. That one and that one, because I actually lost all my work before because I didn't save these and my computer crashed. So now I've got this texture here. Now I'm going to go back over to here. I don't want to paint anymore. I want to be in UV mode. Or even just layout mode actually. And these panels, if I go back into here, I'm going to go to the material panel and I'm going to add a new material. I'll call it Nordic Pattern, and then the base color, and here's where things get tricky, and I should have actually thought about this a little bit more. I'm just going to set the base color to be I actually wanted it to be this metallic color, but for now I'll just leave it. I'll just set the base color to be I'll just assign it, and we'll set the base color to be darkish gray, like that. I actually wanted to have that metal texture on it, but it's not going to happen at the moment. Then I'm going to go to texture paint, not texture paint, shading, And these parts here I'm going to do something funny with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add, and I'm going to add in texture, or image texture. And I'm going to select the Nordic detail one. Then I'm going to select a bump. I'm going to take the color from that and put it into the height, and then put that into the normal. Now that's put that into there. I'm going to invert that. No, I might not invert it. Oh yeah. Turn the strength down a little bit. Play around with whether you want to invert it or not. And then we get that pattern in there. Now I actually took this straight off of one of Thor's hammer things, so it should be pretty good. Now I don't want to, if I put the color into the base color, it's going to look really ugly, and we don't want to do that. So I just want to get that color from there. I'm going to turn the metallicness all the way up, the roughness down quite a bit, and that's looking really, really ugly. So what I am going to do is go back into texture painting, and I'm going to add a new texture because I want to get the color from elsewhere for this one. Okay, the base color is set to like gray. If I turn it all the way up to white, that's actually a bit better. I might just leave it at that for now. Although the color over here, because it's so metallic, it's got no roughness on it at all. I might need to turn the roughness up quite a bit. Okay, so we're pretty much finished here, and the only thing that's been annoying me for a while is this here should be shaded smooth and have an edge split modifier popped on it, and like that. Now in the last video we'll look at applying some lighting to this and making it look pretty nice.